Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Event Ensemble. This is our not regularly scheduled occasional Thursday morning meeting, what we refer to as the EE Zoom room. Once in a while, we have a conversation or a question that comes up, and we want to help people in our group because your success is our goal. And today in the EE Zoom room, we are doing what I refer to as Q&A. Questions and answers. There are some things that are going on within the event ensemble industry, pardon me, the event ensemble group, and within the industry itself as a whole. And we make this opportunity available for people to get some answers to their questions and hopefully become more successful in their celebrations and in their experience with event ensemble. So we currently have approximately 12 people that are chiming in this morning, and I have a list of questions that are already set up and ready to go. Some of our experienced event ensemble members are already going to know the answers to these questions, and others are going to say, oh, well, I have a question about that question, or I have additional information. This is totally Q&A, so jump in and scream and shout, or in Elizabeth's case, post it in the chat. She's having some mic trouble, or wave, Elizabeth, so I know that you've got something going on in the chat. And Zippy, your background was looking good a moment ago, but now you're just a black screen, but you're welcome to pop that back in at any time, my friend. I'm going to turn off the screen share, but I'm going to go out of order for some of my questions, because one of the questions that people ask all the time is, why should I RSVP? And beyond the obvious, why should you RSVP? The real reason for me why you should RSVP is so that you get on the screen. And what I mean by that is the screen that you're looking at right now that is showing the upcoming meetings, and it's showing the people that RSVP'd. I prepped this in advance of the meeting. And if you want to be on this slideshow before we start the official meeting, then the reason to RSVP, as Ingrid and Lee did, and David Hoyt did, who's not here yet, but coming soon, Adrian Andrews, thank you very much for the RSVP. So you got into the slideshow. But for my good friends, without throwing you too far under the bus, Howie and Pearl, and even Linda, you didn't RSVP.
Please.
Yeah, I know. But you didn't RSVP, so as a result, you're not in the slideshow. So if you want to ask yourself why RSVP, the best answer is so that you can get into the slideshow. Okay. There are other advantages to responding to the meeting. Even if you cannot attend, it makes sense to RSVP because it makes it look like there are lots of people who are coming to the meeting. We typically have, for most of our meetings, as many as 50 people in the room, but maybe only 40 or so actually RSVP. So it really makes sense to please RSVP because it generates enthusiasm and excitement for the meeting. You can even post in the group and say, I'm going to the meeting this Thursday. I look forward to seeing you there. It's a great promotion for the meeting that's then outside of me always saying, knock, 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 who's going to the meeting and why aren't you here? Okay, so that is my question and answer regarding why you should RSVP.
Linda has a question.
Yes, the answer is yes. Go for it.
Well, she just asked how far in advance do you need to RSVP to get into the slideshow?
Preferably no later than the night before.
That's stuff we need to know.
Yes, thank you. That is a really good question. RSVP at least the night before because I am prepping this at probably like 3 a.m. in the morning because that's when I get up. Look at Jerry. He's wiping his face. He's wiping his eyes going, who is up that early in the morning?
Oy
Yeah, thank you, Oyve.
I don't think Scott sleeps at all.
Sleep is very overrated. Thank you for being my wing person, Pearl. I appreciate that. Another nice little thing that's going on for the seasoned professionals, you can see that Lee and Ingrid have already posted their contact information in the chat room. Whenever we have a speaker There's a lot going on. So posting your contact information in the chat section is a great way to let people know who you are and what you do. But at the same time, when the speaker is actually speaking, not me, by the way, I don't care, but when the actual presenter is presenting, they look to the chat to see if somebody is asking a question about what they're doing. And if you're posting, I'm so-and-so, and this is who I am and what I do and all that, then they get distracted and they can lose track of their presentation, or they might confuse what you're posting as a question for the presenter. So before the presenter or after the presenter during the Q&A is usually the best time to post that, and it's a great place to do that. Okay, so why Event Ensemble membership? Brandy was asking me a question, and I have no idea why she was asking me this question, but she was asking me the question just this morning, how many people are in Event Ensemble? We used to have 1,300 plus members. We are currently down to about 780 something. And it's like everybody's going, oh, where did everybody go? Many of them are not in business anymore. Many of them, their websites have shut down. And so I'm just, by that kind of attrition, removing them from the group. And some are saying, thank you very much, but no thank you. And while we may miss some members who say thank you, but no thank you, the truth is, if they're not interested in participating in the process, if they're not interested in referring Preston and Adrian and Wendy and the rest of you, then they're just numbers on a page. We're really looking for people who are interested in passing referrals, people who are interested in what Jerry brings to the party or what Zippy does for his profession. So in that respect, it makes a lot of sense that even though the numbers are going down, the group is going to become far more successful and proactive and interactive. And let me give you a great example of what I mean. There used to be, and I'm not exaggerating, probably 300 photographers. We don't have 300 photographers anymore. We have several hundred. And by the time that we finish with just membership in the group, we're going to be down to maybe 20 or 30 photographers. And that is a manageable list of people that you can now network with. And you can also then find out who does what style and who can best benefit your client when you want to refer them. There are many other advantages to the Event Ensemble membership. These meetings, they were, 5 or 6 people on Thursdays. All of a sudden, now that we have membership, this on a non-scheduled date, we have 14 people in the room. And when we have a scheduled speaker, we have 40 or more people that are interactively engaged in the whole process. And it's a win-win for everyone. So with a little skin in the game, as minimal as $5 a month, $60 a year, you get access to the group, all the referrals, and all the networking and the content that we offer. Thanks for the nods, Preston. I appreciate the vote of confidence. And thumbs up. Look at that. I like it. So let's talk about how you can get some more referrals, because that's really the name of the game. We all want more referrals. And I will tell you, and I'm just being way, way, way honest. If you're in the group.
Is there any in there?
Just a little.
There might be some in there. Drink it. See if you like it. If you're in the group. If you're in the group, it's not enough. I'm going to be honest. If you're in the group, or if you're paying membership, or if you have the directory as well, it's still not enough. You got to come to meetings. You have to participate in the conversation online, and you have to be paying attention, because people are actually tagging you. They need an X, they need a Y, they need a Santa, they need a caterer, they need a service. But if you're not paying attention, somebody else is getting that referral instead of you. So you've got to watch the posts, and they move fast. By the same token, if you want more referrals, spend some time with our members. We're going to talk about what FaceTime is, and it's a little different now. It's not always sharing a cup of coffee in person. A lot of times it's just scheduling some Zoom time with people, but it will make a difference in who tags you when they need your service, whether it's tents, DJs, planners, and I'm so excited about the planner meeting coming up. One of the next questions, and I get this all the time, everybody asks me because they're like scared, they're afraid, they don't know what to post. Or they're afraid that if they post something wrong, that I'm going to remove it and delete it and slap them. And it's like, no, none of that's happening. I could probably still count on both hands the number of times that I've actually had to remove a post because it was not appropriate for the group. Recent a photographer, Stephen, brought to my attention somebody posted something about dogs in the group that was inappropriate. If you didn't see it, you got lucky. But I removed that right away. It just wasn't event related, and it was a little freaky, so we got rid of it. But for the most part, I just remind people that the whole purpose of the group is not to advertise, but it is about networking. And networking is not about selling, it is about building a relationship and a rapport with our members. And to that end, one of the best ways that you can do that, again, as I mentioned, is FaceTime. We'll talk about that. But if you want to post something, if I post, I'm a great DJ, that'll get deleted. If I post, I DJ'd and Jeanette and Pearl and Linda and Jerry were all part of this event and we all had a great time working together, well, then it's not about me, is it? It's about the group. It's about the other members. Or I did an event last weekend and got to do it at the Dolly Steamboat. And wow, what a great time everybody had. Again, it's not about me, even though I'm talking about the fact that I DJ'd at the Dolly Steamboat. It is in fact really about the Dolly Steamboat. So those kinds of posts, what I refer to as third-party endorsement, is really what you're looking for. So promote everybody else, and then they will turn around and promote you. Yes, Jerry, unmute and tell me your words of wisdom.
So good morning, everybody. One thing that I kind of feel sometimes is like, there's, like you said, there's multiple vendors of the same thing that do the same thing in the group. And then if you tag someone or multiple people and you forget somebody, then it's like, I feel bad. Like, I mean, I don't want to, we all have the ones we get along with really well and some that we don't know very well, but we know they're there. And so I don't want to be the one that like, well, this little clique over here, this little clique. Event Ensemble is basically everybody. And it would be great to support, we're here to support everybody. So it would be great but how many photographers can you put on a post? If there's 50 of them, can you say 50, hey, contact all these guys, kind of thing. I don't know. I think I'm kind of explaining, I think you know what I'm trying to say.
Not only do I know what you're trying to say, but I think everybody in the room knows what you're trying to say.
I don't want to be,
Right. Pearl, what you want to answer this for us?
I do, or at least I wanted to speak into it. I know for me, Jerry, completely understand, especially being a planner. That's my whole business, is to know as many of everyone into the different categories. But what I'm learning is where people specialize, because everyone does things a little bit differently, even if there's a bunch of DJs or photographers or caterers. And so what I'm learning is when someone posts, you'll notice I'm usually one of that people that asks a little bit more question, like, what exactly are you looking for? So I can give you now, 1 to 3 max, most people that I think would really fit what you're looking for, instead of just a general blanket, here's a list of people. And that's purposeful as I'm learning and getting to know more and more of just all of our different people in Event Ensemble, so that I can actually be a resource and go here specifically closer to what you're looking for. And then I don't feel bad after that, because that's just the reality. It's like, hey, this person's looking, let's just say, for a Mexican caterer. I know almost all of our caterers can do that, but there are some that's their focus. So in this instant, that's who I'm going to promote, because that's what they're specifically looking for.
That is the perfect question. Pardon me, the perfect answer. Bravo. Thank you very much. I'm going to adjunct to that. Felicia from Celebrity Tux and Tails, she's in a lot of other groups, and whenever somebody asks for a DJ, she never tags me. She never mentions my name ever, and I do mean that, ever. But guess what? somebody specifically said that they needed a DJ that does virtual wedding entertainment. And immediately she knew that's Scott, because that's one of my things that I do. And so she tagged me because she recognized she could have tagged any DJ that was a DJ, but she knew that this client was asking for this very specific thing. And so she tagged me in that instance. And that's exactly what Pearl is alluding to. And that's my preferred way to do business. For example, if somebody says that they want Europe for travel, it's always Ingrid. Okay. But if they want honeymoon travel, well, then it might be Ingrid, but it could just as easily be Linda. So we need some more information. Okay. When it's ventriloquist, there's no doubt it's Chuck, because that's it. He's the only one.
Absolutely.
Right. But if they say in general, I'm looking for entertainment for, right? Well, then it's a little bit more general. And it's like, well, do you need music? Do you want comedians? Do you want balloon art? And the idea of entertainment is way too wide. The same token, when somebody asks for a venue, it's like, folks, we're all the way from Gold Canyon, Tucson to Glendale to Buckeye in terms of venues. So when somebody says, I'm looking for a venue on this date, well, the date's helpful, but good God, where in the valley? Because believe me, nobody in Glendale wants to drive all the way out to Gold Canyon or vice versa. Yes, Lee.
Well, I appreciate that, and we follow it, and your information's great. A little twist to that would be, we have clients or neighbors who say, gee, I'd like to have a small birthday party for 20 people, and I need a caterer, or I need a photographer or whatever. So what we've been doing is posting the information we have, what they're looking for, where they are, their contact information, and then asking anyone at EE that believes that they would qualify or would like to participate to contact that customer directly instead of going through us. Is that okay?
That's good too. If that was a rhetorical question or not, the answer is yes, that's totally okay. Because we're looking to make connections. And the better that we know what Jeanette does, the better that we understand what Elizabeth can or cannot do, then the better we can refer each other. And that is our ultimate goal. Now, Jerry, just as by way of an idea here, not everybody is as organized as I am about my list and the members of the group, because that's part of how I network. Long before I was managing Event Ensemble, the whole idea of managing a group of vendors was always part of my process. And to that end, if I get a request and I know that there are 30, and I'll use photographers as an example, because obviously there are a ton of them. If there are no details about, they're looking for black and white, they're looking for somebody who travels, or other details, but they just say photographer, well, then I have what I refer to as a rotation. So, I'll list 3. And then the next time that somebody asks for a photographer, I'll list 3 different photographers. And the next time, if I have a rapport with somebody that refers me often, then I might want to include that individual's name almost, all the time first. But that's up to you as to how you want to do things. But having a list that you rotate through can work as well if that's more comfortable. Hair and makeup falls into that category as well. Lots of hair and makeup people, but they are not all created equal. They don't all travel. They don't all do the same quality or caliber of work, to be honest. And so, and they may be looking for somebody who's bilingual, or speaks a certain language, and or deals with a certain type of hair. Right, Pearl? Okay. So I'm going to move on to our next question. And again, why the directory?
Oh, Scott, really quick.
Yes.
There was a question. I think we answered it for Zippy, but if you wanted to clarify FaceTime, this might be, if that was on the list, this might be a good time because it was in the chat.
Okay, so let's talk about what is FaceTime. And I will tell you that FaceTime is not, and I always like to emphasize this, FaceTime is not a thing that you do with your iPhone. And it is not a sales presentation. Here's my folder right? And sign on the dotted line right here. Thank you very much. You've just bought, my timeshare. There are some members, Linda's laughing. There are some members who treat FaceTime like that, and that's unfortunate because that's not really what we're all about. Our whole process and thought is behind getting to know one another. So it is before the dark times, really face to face. You sit down over a cup of coffee or a spot of tea, put on the kettle at Panera or Starbucks or somewhere, maybe before or after one of our live meetings, and sit down and talk and find out about each other and who you are and what you do. And sometimes you'll decide that you don't want to do business with that person. And sometimes you'll say, this is exactly who I want to refer to my clients. But that's part of the process. Don't assume that just because somebody invites you to FaceTime that you have to meet with them. You don't, but don't judge a book by its cover. There's a videographer in our group whose name I will not mention. He does come to the meetings time to time again. He looks a little slow, to be honest, and he's not. He's one of the sharpest videographers I know. So don't judge a book by its cover. And just because my favorite planner referred me to a couple once, she said, I don't get you, Scott, at all, but you're perfect for my client. It's a true story. And I did their wedding. And the client to this day responds to all my birthdays and anniversary messages and checks in on me and sees how I'm doing. Planner never talks to me, but the client really likes me. So, just keep in mind that you'll meet people that you may or may not necessarily connect with, but their service may be of value to your clients. I know this is crazy philosophy, but it's just the way networking works. And by the way, you were looking mighty woolly there, Mr. Wallstein. Is it cold there?
You're muted.
Yeah, he's muted. Oh, look at that. Look at that snow.
Welcome to Minnesota.
Minnesota. Very nice. Keep the heat on. All right, excellent. Zippy and everybody else, I hope that answers your question regarding FaceTime. If you have any questions about FaceTime, the best way to do it is to have FaceTime with one of our seasoned professionals, Pearl, Preston.
Yeah, Scott,
Wendy.
and the group, I do want to thank you for clarifying that in the chat as well, so verbal, Scott. That meant a lot to me. I thought when people say FaceTime, I thought it was an Apple product, and so I know. So thank you very much for clarifying that.
Absolutely. Zippy is a virgin in the house. This is his first time meeting with us, so we obviously cut him some slack. There is what I refer to as the pinned post, and the pinned post is at the top, very, very top of the Event Ensemble Facebook group page. If you're on a computer, you'll most likely see it at the top every time that you log into the group page. But from your phone, it's a little hidden. And from your iPad, I don't know where it is because I don't use an iPad. But suffice to say, it's has a whole list of probably 20 or 30 different how do I succeed and be successful in Event Ensemble questions and answers. So seek it out. And if you need a link to it, you can ask me and I'll send it to you. Or the easiest way to find that pinned post, look at one of the welcome messages. Any welcome message. Whenever I say welcome so-and-so to Event Ensemble and I say what they do and I give some links, the pinned post is always in that welcome message. So you can easily find it there.
All right, thank you.
You betcha. And I'm also just as happy to have FaceTime with you anytime, my friend.
Yeah, we known each other for quite some time, and this is the first opportunity I had to come. So yeah, definitely. All right, sounds great.
Okay, excellent. The why the directory is the question next that I have, and I got to tell you, if it were up to me with the way that I personally network, I don't see the purpose of the directory. But I have to tell you, of all the memberships that we have, over 80% wanted the directory and are using it. It's a really popular feature. You can search for send out cards, you can search for travel or keywords or individuals' names. And if you have not updated your profile, please update your profile in the directory for Event Ensemble. Only 20% of the members actually have pictures, and you can actually edit the picture. So Elizabeth, if you wanted that picture that's your background right now as your picture, you could do that. Same for you, Zippy. When you sign up for a membership, if you opt for the directory, you could have any picture you want that represents your business in your profile. And keep it current. If you change your phone number, email address, or website, if you add the S to your website so that it's now secure, make sure that you add that additional information to your profile. It does make a difference.
Yeah, my website has the S already. Yeah.
Yeah, that S, by the way, is I can't begin to tell you how important it is. People who are searching for you and what you do on Google, if you don't have that S in your website URL, which means that you're secure, they actually get a warning message that pops up and says, this site is not secure. Are you sure you want to go here? And they kind of hide where you can click to actually go to that page. So get the S. It's a couple extra bucks, but it's really worth it. Google is also dinging your search engine rotation based on whether or not you have an S. So if you don't have a secure site, you're way, 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 way at the bottom. Even if everything else is in proper order and your SEO is done all right, and you should be right at the top of the list for the top 10, without that S in your URL, you're in trouble. If you have questions about that, Monica Kelly is our go-to guru regarding website maintenance and management.
Can I make a comment about
You should say something.
Okay, all right already. No, I actually, it's hard to believe I've been here 5 years now. I remember coming into Event Ensemble and saying, oh, I moved here last week. That's how long I've been in this group now. And I find the difference between FaceTiming and not FaceTiming is you become part of somebody. Everybody that you FaceTime with is part of your family, not part of your network, but you feel like you have a stronger bond. Anybody, because, I mean, Howard Wallstein's in Minnesota, and I had a show in Minnesota, and Howard picked me up at the airport. I barely knew him, but we knew each other from FaceTiming and David Hoyt. And otherwise you just a picture on a screen now at this point, in 30 seconds worth of information. So I think it's extremely important, especially now.
Thank you. But Linda, where do we find the directory? So let me share my screen real quickly, and I will show you what's going on. This is the Event Ensemble website, not to be confused with our Facebook group, because you won't find a directory on the Facebook group. The directory is actually in the Event Ensemble website, and I'm logged in as the maintenance guy, so it looks a little bit different for me than it will for you, but it says welcome at the top. You need to be signed in to your Event Ensemble account, and if you have the directory option, then you can edit your directory and you can look in the member directory. Right here where my mouse is waving, right, almost middle of the top screen, it says member directory. You just simply click on that and it will take you to the directory. And shame on us, as you can see some pretty faces and a lot of silhouettes. Okay, so some people need to update their directory listing. Here's AZ Sleepy TP, and that's Dana, no last name. Your phone number, I know it's easy to skip the dashes, but please include the dashes, then your phone number will populate properly. And then your website is there. You can view the entire profile like this. There you go. And you can see all members. Again, and you can also edit your profile from here. So if I go to my profile And I think I have a couple of different
Hey,
profiles in
Scott?
here. Yes, go ahead.
While you're looking at that, when you clicked on, I think Dana's, it said howdy member. Can you change that wording, or is that the default for everyone?
I think it's the default for everyone. Believe me, I'm not excited about it either. But I have to pick my battles when it comes to maintenance of the. Let me view this profile here real quickly. See, so now I've filled in more information. So I've got, biographical information, and I've got an email address, and this stuff is here. You can have access to all of this. When I hate this howdy member. I'll see if she can change it. It's a little wonky, huh?
I was like, oh, okay.
Does it not say that to you too?
Well, I guess wonky, but I agree with you where I was like, no, that's definitely not how I would greet someone. So
Yeah, I agree.
Reminiscent of Minnie Pearl. Howdy.
There it is. Thank you very much. By the way, is there a price tag on that hat still?
Well, on my bitty Bitcoin hat, I have a coin that had a hole in it, and I put that over the side.
And there's an edit profile option over here that if you click on it, it'll let you choose your picture and edit some information. Go ahead, Adrian.
I'm on it on my telephone right now,
Mm-hmm.
and it for some reasons is asking me to join again. Am I doing something wrong?
No, because the homepage says join right at the top. What you want to do is on the membership login, you want to log into your membership. So whatever your profile, whatever your account is, you'll want to log in.
I did. That's what I'm saying. I did under my membership, and then it still told me to do that because I was laughing. I said, oh, this is where I was supposed to fill in everything. I'm so glad I'm at this meeting.
Okay, so at the top of your phone, does it say welcome and then your name? See where it says at the top of my screen where it says welcome the party favors? Does it say welcome Adrian Andrews?
It did a few minutes ago. I actually, when I said members log in, it actually says welcome Adrian Andrews and to log out, the log out there. So I knew I was logged in.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I went further, I guess when I tried to do directory, I guess that's when it was kind of acting silly with me because I have nothing signed in. So I'm like nobody.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Listen, you're not alone. I'm looking at your profile right now and I can see, but don't feel alone. As you see from the screen, there are lots of silhouettes out there.
Yeah.
But my recommendation is that you fill out your bio and that you fill out your information. I will tell everybody that I actually filled in your information when you joined. That was part of what I did for everybody. I couldn't change your pictures, and I didn't want to make the assumption that I should change your pictures, so I didn't do that. But I did fix the pictures for you. Okay, so why meetings? Adrian just said it. I'm so glad I came to this meeting. That's how you're going to meet people, and it's how you're going to get valuable education. I'm the no filter guy, so I'm just going to tell you right here and now. For months, I've been the person speaking and saying, this is what we could do, and this is what's going on, and this is what's happening. And now all of a sudden we have smarter people than me saying the exact same thing. This is what's going on, and this is what you should do, and this is what's happening. And all of a sudden people are paying attention. So we don't have 5 people in the room, we have 50 people in the room. And that's great for us. It's great for the group. So it's all good news. And the topics are timely for what's going on in our industry right now. I don't see any photo booth people online yet, but I got to tell you, Rob Savix, who is the producer for the Photo Booth Expo in Las Vegas, had like 5,000 people there last February, just before everything went into lockdown. He canceled the 2021 show, but he's going to be here next Thursday to tell us what the future of shows are, including an expo that he's doing called the Pivot Expo. And you don't have to be a photo booth person. And for the DJs in the room, that includes the formerly known as Mobile Beat Las Vegas show. I don't know if he's full on sealed the deal for purchasing that or not, but he is going to be putting on a show that I think he refers to as Mobile Entertainment Expo, but it's not going to be live. So we'll have to see what's up, and I'm excited to hear what he has to say. Okay. Any other testimonials or questions regarding meetings themselves? Moving on.
I'm trying to understand that. So why I didn't RSVP for today's meeting was
Correct.
Well, thank you again. Was because I didn't think it was happening. The last time we had chatted, the Zoom rooms, it sounded like they could happen or occasional happenings, not that they were consistently going to happen.
Okay. So let's talk about that then, because that is a great question. There's only so much that I can humanly do to let people know that we are meeting. And I'll give you a little, not everybody knows how hard I work to make sure that people know what's going on. I had somebody after last Thursday's meeting, which was really, really publicized, about Randy Bartlett and the 7 habits of highly ineffective vendors. Well-attended meeting, but I had somebody contact me the day after the meeting and say, I didn't even know this was happening. It's like, well, I only sent out 4 emails regarding the meeting. I only posted in the group 3 times a day that the meeting was happening. And so again, I try not to be overly obnoxious about reminding people that we're meeting, but let me help you out if I may. The EE Zoom room is not on a regular schedule. It is periodic, but I do post it in the events section. So and it will look differently for you from your phone or from whatever device you're looking at. But if you have this menu option at the top somewhere that says about, discussion, announcements, members, events, and then in the events section, you'll see here's the EE Zoom room Q&A. And I am limited as to the number of people that I'm allowed to invite. It says I have 156 people left that I could have invited. But in the meantime, I invited probably, I'll take a look and see how many I invited. Here we go. I invited 298. So they tap you out somewhere at between 400 and 500 people that you're allowed to invite. I don't know if you're on this list, Pearl, or not, but I did try to invite just about everybody.
I noticed that I was still available to be invited, so I just thought I'd throw that out there. You know.
Okay. So and by the way, when I click on invite, actually, I'm looking for the list that says invited. Here we go. Invited, right? There. Come on. It should show me the people that I invited. There they are. See Aaron here? He has no check next to his name. Holly has no check to her name, but Jessie, she does have a check to her name, which means that not only did I invite her, but she saw the invite. Okay. So again, I try to do everything I can, but if people don't see the invitation, I can't force it on them. I really try hard, and I do post it in the group, as I'm sure you may have seen. But I have to be honest. I typically tag people, and they limit you as to how many people you're allowed to tag. Let me go to. Oh, this is a bad.
Oh
post.
no, it's just good to know to pay attention.
It is really good to know. Pay attention. Absolutely. 50 people. You're allowed to tag about 50 people when you make a post. If you tag more than 50 people, they get upset with you. So I typically tag either current members or I tag people who I want to remind that they can benefit from this meeting. Please join us. Because as I say, there's still 700 people in the group that have not, and not all of them have taken up the membership option. And some of them are here today, which makes me thrilled. I'm happy to have you join us. Absolutely. And hopefully we're showing the value of membership as we go through this process. Okay. Yes, Adrian.
Real quick, I just want to tell Pearl as well and everybody else, you really alerted me because remember I said, hey, I'll see you there. Thought that's all I had to do. And then he sent back to me, how about saying you're coming?
I hope it was friendly. I hope it wasn't too,
And then I went over to do it. So, because otherwise I just said, oh, I'll see you there.
Mhm. Thank you. I really, really appreciate that. And you were gracious about that. I'm really excited about the brand new Event Ensemble EE Spotlight. And by the way, Lee and Linda, I have not forgotten about my question to you, so hang in there because it's coming. The EE Spotlight is your opportunity to be in the spotlight. I'm doing, is it Pearl, or are you scheduled for today? Okay, I have 3 scheduled for today. I can schedule as many as 4 a week. And I do preparation for that meeting. I do a little research. I do some logo preparation. And so when I do Pearl and she's in the spotlight, there she is, ta-da, right? And we'll have a friendly little interview and we'll talk about Pearl and her business. It may be 15, 20 minutes long. We record it and then I post it. But I don't just post it in the group because, as you know, our group is private and anything that's posted in our group that's private stays private. You can't share it. But I do want everybody in the group to see it, so I post it there. But I also post it in our brand new Event Ensemble YouTube page. And I put them into rotation into my social media content. So I've done one with Wendy and I've done one with Felicia, and I have posted these and I've tagged them, and it's my way of promoting you, not only to the group, but also to my audience of 5,000 Facebook friends and the people who are on my fan page. It's free. It's a membership bonus. You can take the video and use it as if it's your, your personal private promo video about you, because it's really complimentary. I'm not comparing and contrasting planners and saying, well, Pearl, why don't you do it the way so-and-so does it? But it's really all about Pearl in that moment that I'm sitting down with her. Okay. So go ahead, Mr. Lee.
First of all, I want to congratulate you for doing it. I know it's time consuming, but we all appreciate it. We've looked at the spotlights you've done so far, and I'm taking notes because we're scheduled down the road, and it's very helpful to see how you manage it so that we can be better prepared for you when it actually happens.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Let me, if I may, I don't know what it is about this jacket, but it's making me feel like I'm 500 pounds fat. Let me just take it off. Okay. A little better. I have this new thing that I have not publicized yet that I refer to as 1, 2, 3. It's one question, 2 minutes to talk about that question, and then 3 people who get to respond to the question. Now, the question, for example, might be something that you have going on in your business that you need help with. I'd like to discuss how I can raise my rates, or I'd like to discuss the best way to market. I want to discuss what you think about these 2 different images or logos or a name change for my company. So that's definitely business related. But it also might be a 1, 2, 3, that one thing that makes you unique. There are 500 photographers. How do I know that you're the one I want to refer? And then you can talk about that one thing that you do for 2 minutes that makes your photography services distinguished from all others. Or in this case, travel, right? Because when I think about travel, it is so diverse in terms of the different options, whether you're cruise, whether you're flight. Do I want to just get a plane ticket? Do I want to stay domestic? Do I want to go international? I mean, do I only focus on Disney, or do I only do the Caribbean, depending on how you pronounce that? All of that stuff. So I'm thinking that a 1, 2, 3 would be a great way to invite maybe the whole group is invited, and then maybe 2 or 3 people, 4 people for the 1 hour that we would talk about those 1, 2, 3 for each. And I'm looking for feedback to see if you think this is a good idea.
Like right now?
Great idea.
Well, if you want to tell me tomorrow, I guess you can tell me tomorrow. Do it. Thank you, Linda.
Is it for the whole hour that you'll be doing the
Well,
1, 2,
well,
3?
let's say that we planned in advance that Wendy, Elizabeth, Pearl, and David RSVP'd for this one thing. So then you would be the one thing, and you would each get your moment to talk about that one thing. Because again, it's one thing for 2 minutes, and then 3 people respond.
And they don't necessarily have to be in the same industry.
No, absolutely
Okay.
not. Absolutely not. But I'm going to take this 2 ways, Lee. I'm going to assume that the people that are doing the 1, 2, 3 are not in the same industry. And I'm assuming that the 3 people who respond don't necessarily have to be in the same industry. So just for clarification. Pearl, you can think about it and let me know what you think about it later. What I'm looking to do is to offer additional ways to promote who you are and what you do. And, you know, when I think about Jerry and he's got, 30 different DJs, so that means he is way better qualified to offer a variation upon the theme when his client says, I'm looking for a DJ. Because he doesn't just have me, he's got 30 different DJs, and they're all different shapes and styles and all of that. Where I can't compete with that, but that's good because I only do me. So there are pros and cons to each business style, but knowing the differences can allow people to then say, oh, well, Jerry, don't worry about those other guys. If they're all booked and they're saying they're all booked, Jerry's got 30 guys, just call Jerry. Jerry, I know you don't have 30 guys, but you know what I mean. It's more than just one.
Yeah, I just aged like 10 years right now.
Let me tell you, Jerry, I used to have 10 DJs when I was in California. And when I gave up the multi-op business and went to 1, I changed my age and became 30 years younger. Because and that's why I still have hair.
Yeah.
So
I have 14 DJs pre-COVID.
Wow.
Not sure what that's going to look like afterward.
And that's something that we can definitely discuss, and not just for DJs, but for all of us as we continue to learn about how we can better help one another. So let's talk about the difference between networking versus ISO. ISO is I'm in search of, I need an XYZ. And we get these all the time. And as Pearl pointed out, if they're looking for a photographer, she wants more details. Or if they're caterer is another great example. It's like, I'm glad you're looking for a caterer, but do they want tacos or do they want steak? Big price point difference, right? Are they looking for full-on catered, or do they just want somebody to deliver the food? And even pre-COVID, there were lots of restaurants that were in our group that delivered, but actually didn't do any service for the event. So understanding what their needs are makes a difference. But networking is how Pearl can say, I know 20 DJs, but based on what you described, this is the one you want to talk to right now. And it's just so much more powerful. And I use DJ as an example. The same is true about Santa or balloons or any other service, including tents. Listen, Elizabeth has a white tent and it looks incredible. But that other person, they have a white tent, but they never clean it. Or that white tent is not peaked, but Elizabeth's tent is peaked, and it makes a difference. So knowing that, you can ask your clients, well, okay, I understand you want a white tent, but do you want just a regular arch, or do you want one that goes up like a spire, like a church cathedral? And she has that, but you wouldn't know that unless you had FaceTime with her. So that's where FaceTime comes in again. So we are okay with in search of, but the networking is really how you can make some money in this process. Adrian.
I just wanted to go on top of what you're talking about with the ISO. I belong to another organization that talked me into joining, but their whole life is ISO, and they just totally just go to tons of different groups and do it. What is your opinion on that? I'm dying to ask someone, like your phone needs to be an appendage to your whole body. So could you elaborate on that? I'm so glad I came today. You hit that one on the nose for me.
Do you want me to respond, or are you asking the group to respond? Because I've got a definite serious bias.
A couple of people would, so I can get, I just need to know. This is something, since I'm old to the business, but new to this technology. So somebody please help me.
Okay. All right. So let me, Pearl, you want to jump in first? Because you look like you're chomping at the bit there.
No, go ahead. I mean,
Okay.
I can say afterwards, but go ahead.
All right. So there's a photo booth person. Her name is Enos. She has a mirror booth. She is all over these groups. I mean, whether it's Bride AZ or Getting Married This Week or whatever the group name is, she's in all of them. And anytime somebody asks for a DJ, it doesn't matter what they say. Anytime they ask for a DJ, she has a list of 3 or 4 DJs, and I'm included in that list of people that she says, contact these people. And I always respond, thank you very much. And I tag her so that I let her know that I'm appreciative that she tagged me. And this is not Event Ensemble. I'm talking about these other groups, which I'm assuming that's what you're talking about, right? And then I'll contrast that to our group. Okay, but here's what happens. If Preston posts in this brides group that he needs a DJ, and Inas tags me in the group, I can respond to her and to Preston and say, thank you very much, and include my contact information and say how much I appreciate it. And I'm excited to work with you, or congratulations, or whatever your pitch is. But there's no way for me to contact Preston after that. Preston has to contact me. And I'll see these posts that, and again, I'm using a DJ as an example, they'll have 30, 50 or more replies, and everybody is mentioning different DJs. Once in a while, you'll get a couple of the same DJs mentioned, which is always, a bonus for the DJ. But the bottom line is, it's like, this could be 3-6 weeks later. You don't even, and they don't mention when the date is. You don't, did they find a DJ? They never respond to say, I found a DJ, thank you very much. So essentially, it's like, you just, for me, I do it because I want her to know I appreciate it. But I have not booked any of these. I mean, I can't even make contact with them. I mean, if I send them a personal message on Facebook and say, thank you very much, I was tagged in this group that you belong to, I was mentioned, love to help you out, whatever it is I say, it doesn't matter, because that message, because I'm not friends with them on Facebook, it goes into their junk folder, and they may or may not see it. And if they're not savvy enough to even know where to look for those messages, it's just spam. And so there's really little or no way that you can connect with them. It's not that somebody doesn't get the deal, because I can't imagine that everybody's wasting their time, but I don't see a lot of value in it. Juxtaposed to that, and I'll get you in just a second, Jerry, switch that in Event Ensemble, we're all family, we're all friends. If Adrian says Preston is looking for a DJ, well, Preston may not be a member of the group, but I can go to Adrian and say, Adrian, thank you so much for mentioning that so-and-so, that Preston needs a DJ. Would you be so kind as to make an introduction? But now, check it out. Adrian knows Preston. Otherwise, she wouldn't have posted it in our group. So she's got his contact information. She can then determine and decide whether or not she wants to make the connection or not. But if I go to Anas, who tagged me in this group because the person said that they were looking for a DJ, she doesn't know that person. She doesn't have their contact information. She's not connected to them. They're not using her as a photo booth. So she doesn't know them any more than I do. So all she can do is tag my name. So very, very big difference. Jerry, what you got?
Yeah, I see that a lot in other groups, like you say, and you scroll down and there's so many, call me, I'll take care of you, call me, and then call this person, call that person, call that. And to me, honestly, it seems like, imagine like you're in the desert and all these vultures are just over this body, whatever it is. And that's how I feel. Like, I'll just like skip the whole thing. It's not even worth it. And sometimes I'll get tagged and stuff like that. And I'll say thank you and stuff, but I don't want to, and maybe it's the way I kind of want to do business. Like, I don't want to seem like I'm desperate, because sometimes people on there look like they're desperate.
So, and this may come across as crass, but funny that you say that, Jerry. I have this promo video that is called "Looking for a Good DJ or a Great DJ," and my response to these groups is, as you can see, there are many good DJs to choose from here, because there's 60 people listed there. If you're looking for a great DJ who can make your day fun, unique, and memorable, we'd be honored to help you celebrate. And then there's a link to my great DJ video. But just to juxtapose as to how you sell yourself, most of the videos or the pictures that other DJs are posting, they're pictures of their gear and the lights and all of the, the way they make the room look. And Chuck's not shaking his head going, no, don't do that. And I don't. If you look at my great DJ, there's not a single picture of me or my equipment in any of the images in that video. They're all about the couple. They're all about the events and people dancing and the experience that they receive, because I'm not the center of attention. My client is. But again, that's how I sell me. Okay.
Pearl
had a question.
Pearl, save me.
Well, I didn't have a question, but I was going to jump in for Adrian's question. And I think I took it differently, as in early. So Adrian, you can clarify. I thought you were asking about whether you should participate in these groups more often. But so anyway, that's how I took the question. And so
did I misunderstand the question, Adrian?
No, you did not. You did not. You did not. I wasn't asking about me.
Okay.
I was asking over the overall feeling of those type of organizations and that.
Okay,
it was way they approach it. Sorry.
All right. Oh, no worries. It was just because of your comment of people, you say they're in all these groups and they're like, should I be doing that? So that's why I took the question that way. So
what's your opinion on should you do that, since you put that out there?
I will say that I agree with Scott and Jerry. I mean, the answer is still similar in the sense that it's still about wanting to know what the client or these people are specifically looking for, so you can give them a specific response. Because I'm thinking, if I'm that person that asked that and then I get 60 plus answers, that's overwhelming. That's what gets people very confused very quickly, and that becomes extremely overwhelming. And it's difficult to be able to go, okay, like, well, how do I pick? So I always find it interesting when people put out recommendations out on Facebook now, because you just get that laundry list of names. And so I'm very specific. If I ever tag someone in that, I will tag them, but then I will actually send a direct message or put a note saying, hey, I also put a direct message, so that at least if they know how to find it, they know that information is available to them to connect with that person. Or if it's two people I know, I'll just do a direct message group to connect to the two of them if they're not in the same group, but I think that they will be helpful to one another.
It's not that it would be so wonderful if it was that way, but it is. Like Scott says,
and it can be, it can be that way in Event Ensemble, because it's a much more controlled, intimate experience. Lee, I see you've got a question. Preston, you go first, and then Lee.
Okay. The way I look at this, when you tag somebody, you're essentially passing a referral. And just tagging somebody, to me, is not a qualified referral. And I'll harken back to my 41 year in real estate. When I would refer a vendor, I'd always ask the person who needs that service, would it be okay if I have Scott get in touch with you, and ask their permission to give their contact information to Scott. Right. Then I give that info. If the answer is yes, I give it to Scott, and I get out of the middle. Right. And then you are in direct communication.
Very nice.
And unless I'm missing something, using technology isn't any different. You can message that person who's in search of somebody and tell them you have 2, 3, 4, 1, whatever it is. May I have your contact information, and pass your contact information along. If they're unwilling to give the contact information, they're not serious.
Right. And the only distinction here, Preston, is in these groups, the person who's tagging you doesn't have a connection with the person making the request. And so they can't make the introduction.
Well, then why bother?
And then that was Jerry's point. Lee, what you got?
Well, in the beginning, first of all, I agree with everything that Preston just said. But in the beginning, you said you had a travel question. Ingrid needs to be excused because she's going on to learn about the Pyrenees and Andorra between France and Spain here shortly. But she was going to sit here until you asked her your travel question.
Oh, I am so sorry that you misunderstood. I already asked it. It was about the 1, 2, 3, and to see if it was something that would be of value, that would help travel agents be able to distinguish themselves from other travel agents or DJs or other services.
Absolutely.
All right. So I got an absolutely there. Thank you very much.
Okay. Ingrid's off to Spain. I'll stick around.
Stay away from the sheep herders. Stay away from the sheep herders.
Okay.
People learn about the Pyrenees. That's where the Basques are.
I understand. The last question that I had on my list of questions, it was simply, why always the same names? And a lot of times people complain to me, why do they always tag Wendy? Or why do they always tag Pearl? Or why do they always mention David when they need, again, whatever the service is? And the answer is because those people have had FaceTime. Those people have been in the process of networking, building relationships and rapport, so they get tagged more often. And if you would like to get mentioned more often for whatever the services that you provide, the solution is to build better relationships with our members. Any questions I didn't ask that I can answer? Because this is Q&A.
I have a quick question, and it's going back to the member login. I try to log in. I can't figure it out. I don't even think I know my password or username.
So two things. First, get off your phones, people. I love you. Get off your phones. Get on a computer. The phone is going, it doesn't matter whether you're talking about Facebook or if you're on this thing right now, this Zoom meeting on your phone, then your experience is about this narrow in comparison to if you're on a computer. And if you're on a computer with multiple screens, well, then you're really expanding because you can move faces and people and the chat and everything, and you can see it all at the same time and know what's going on. But from certain devices like your phone, respectfully, there are some features that are not available or some features that don't work properly. So I love you, Jerry. Get off the phone. Get onto your computer, log in. If you need your password changed, or I can't remind you what your password is because the service doesn't offer that. All I can do is change your password and then send you an email from the automated system that says this is your new password. Then you can log in and change the password back to whatever you wanted or whatever you want to keep it as. Okay, I hope that helps.
I'll take one of those.
Oh, hold on, Double Dipper. Lee.
Yeah, well, just sitting here and as everyone knows, selling your vacations right now is not happening much. So we're looking into doing more FaceTime, and face-to-face FaceTime, as you point out, is not really happening often, but some people are still doing it. We want to Zoom with other people. That sounds, oh, it's easy, just call. We've never done that. So this is when our suppliers set up a Zoom meeting, we just join the meeting. So we've never initiated a Zoom conference. How do we do that?
Okay, Jerry, don't forget your question because I'm going to come back to you. I'm scrolling through the chat to see if anybody did what I was hoping they had done, and I don't see one. There's Wendy's. Pearl, come on, don't you normally do this? Pearl,
Yeah,
did
I
you
have a
put your stuff
calendar
there?
link. Nope, it's in there.
Okay, so if you scroll through, you'll see Pearl here. She's way at the top. There's her calendar link. Everybody, as far as I'm concerned, should have, it doesn't have to be Calendly, but it's got to be some link to your calendar, because that's how you're going to start getting FaceTimes with people, is to set up a calendar so that they can then schedule something that's on your time, and they get to pick what's convenient for them based on what you have available. Just like you scheduled your EE Spotlight, that's Calendly, and it showed you what was available and you selected a time. So that's would be the first step. And I would suggest that when you're including your contact information in this day and age, 2021, 2020, you want to include your calendar link. I remember back in the 80s when people were asking themselves, should I include my email address in my contact information, or is a phone number sufficient? And everybody's laughing. It's like, come on, email, of course, right? Well, your calendar link and your Zoom link, if you've got a Zoom link that goes to a calendar, all part of that process. So do you have a Zoom account, Lee? Or, oh, so you don't have a Zoom
Yeah,
account?
I think that's, again,
Nope,
I took the
don't.
question very differently for Lee. It sounded like he was looking for help on actually to set up Zoom and to
Yep.
practice and being able to send out those calendar links themselves, because you haven't had to do that before, Lee. Is that what you were
That's
saying?
correct. That's how far behind we are.
Okay, so I
So-
went off on a tangent regarding the calendar link, but now that's why I was asking the question, does he have a Zoom account? So Pearl, does he have to have an account in order to do a Zoom meeting between two people? I think he can use the free one, right?
No, you can do a free one, and it's set up for 40 minutes. And so you can just, so you have to create an account, but it has to be a paid account. And once you do that, it'll give you your own personal link and you can set it up as a calendar. And I'm happy to practice with you, Lee, if you would like that. I actually love doing it because I love technology, as anyone who's done FaceTime with me knows. So I'm happy to practice that with you so you can have that comfort without having to try it with someone else.
I appreciate that. And as soon as Ingrid and I sit down and figure out our calendars, because as you can tell, we are doing different things in some cases. But Pearl, we'll get back to you and get brought up to speed.
Absolutely. And my calendar link is in the chat, so you can feel free to, and it's right now it's set up for a quick 30-minute, let's get to know one another conversation. So, or 45 minutes, maybe it's 45, but feel free to use that link.
I'm writing it down, Scott.
Okay. So a couple things regarding the chat. If you came into the room, the Zoom room today before, pardon me, if you came in after Pearl had posted that, you will not see anything that's posted in the chat before you arrived. So Pearl, you may want to post that again just to be on the safe side. Yes, I agree in the chat that my tangent was helpful. Thank you, Linda. And that Pearl is brilliant. Thank you, Zippy. I think we're all on the same page. I would definitely schedule some time with Pearl, Ingrid, and Lee, and she can help walk you through setting up a calendar. Zippy was asking about, well, what if you've got a Google Calendar and what if you use this Calendly thing? They actually sync. They'll sync with your Calendly and your Google Calendar and even your Outlook calendar. So if you schedule something on your Outlook calendar, it'll automatically make you not available on Calendly and vice versa. So
yeah, I use a different service, but it's that same thing. You just sync them together. And anyone who uses HoneyBook as a CRM or a processor, they've added a scheduling option as well. So you don't even have to go outside if you already have an account. And you can sync it that way as well and do the exact same thing set up. So there's multiple ways of having that functionality that's quite fantastic.
I think you have a fan here in Zippy. He says you're awesome. Okay. All right. We're definitely over the hour. You've been very patient. Jerry, you have one more question?
No.
I have a comment. I have a
Okay,
comment, Scott, in the
go
group.
ahead.
I just want to thank everyone. You guys are so brilliant and smart and awesome. You know, all the information I've been asking, you guys provided and willing to, you know, to tell me. That's amazing. I have never been part of a group that's so willing to help, you know, and I feel blessed.
Yes.
And I'm glad I attended, just like some, you know, Adrienne said, you know, I'm glad we came today. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I love the heart, Pearl. Love it. I don't know how to do that, but thank you.
Well,
Hey, Scott.
Well, you can be
yes.
like Preston and have your card, or you can just go to reactions and click on it.
Oh,
Scott,
okay.
if you want a candidate to do your first 1, 2, 3, I know Ingrid would love to do that.
Oh, excellent. I am thinking about it, and once I get it all formalized, I will be sending out invitations. It will be a membership only thing, just like the EE Spotlight is only for members. And again, our group currently has 780 something people in the group. There are approximately 170 memberships, and I'm dwindling that number down. So we'll probably be somewhere between 200 and 300 people, and it will be quality working individuals who are serious about passing referrals. Look at you, Adrian, with the horn. I love it. All right. With that, I bid you all adieu and say thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you next Thursday when Photo Booth Expo expert is in the house.
Jerry, are you calling me right now then? Okay.